It is said that the painting is an expression of the artist on the canvas, paper, whatever the surface the painter chooses. Of course, that's not the only story. It's more than that. It's a story of the painter and the subject. It's a relationship between the painter and the subject, how the painter presents the subject matter, his respect for the subject. More important than that, it's a painting is a window into the artist's mind, artist's soul. It's about the showing about the artist's personality even and psyche. And it's also a product of the artist's life experiences. There lies in my story about tonight, talking to you about my heritage. It tells you how young I am, but my parents used to live on Vancouver Island, a place called Deep Bay. There's Fanny Bay, Oyster Bay, Union Bay, and all kinds of bays. And there's a place called Deep Bay, close to Courtney. And that's where my parents used to be. 1941, December, there was the bombing of the Hawaii's, what do you call it? Harbor, Pearl Harbor. My mother was pregnant. She didn't want to go to the nearest hospital, which was Victoria. And so she came here to Steveston. Steveston at that time was a thriving Japanese community. Where we stand here today, this used to be a Japanese sort of everything store, grocery store, variety store. And this store served the entire Japanese community. And also across the street where today the Maple Residence Seniors Home stands, where my mom is sitting over there, is living. That area used to be the Japanese hospital. And if you go there, you'll probably notice a little archway that says Fisherman's Hospital. And the hospital used to have quite a complex of things, administration building, the actual hospital servicing units. And it was a large area. So that's where my mom came, and I was born in January. And at those days, when you have a baby, you stay there in the hospital for a month or so, not like today. And during that time, there was an evacuation order already that came from the West Coast, Vancouver Island, towards here to Steveston. My mother couldn't get back to Vancouver Island. So at the end of 1 month in this hospital, we went to Haney, where her parents used to live. And that's how I started in this community. So I was born here, but raised in the camp. We all went to the interior, as you probably heard, all the Japanese descendants of Japanese people, I should say. Spent 4 years in the camp, and we were given a choice of evacuating 100-mile radius from the coastline towards the interior or go to Japan. My parents, along with their parents, my grandparents, chose to go to Japan. And of course, it was the worst time in the history of Japan to experience that country. No place for anyone to stay. The train stations, anything with the covers, were just covered with people. People not knowing where to go, how to survive. And that's how we started our life in Japan. It took my parents 9 years to come back to Canada. My mother is a born Canadian. She was born in U.S. Yet we couldn't come back early enough because Japan at that time was under reconstruction. It would not allow any capitals going out of Japan, and that made it very difficult. We had to have relatives staying in Canada to sponsor us. Fortunately, most of our relatives did stay in Canada. Some of our relatives stayed in Montreal, and these are the people that sponsored us. So we went to Montreal. Coming from Japan to Montreal, I couldn't tell the difference between French and English. Until 2 years later, we moved to Richmond again and started to go to Richmond High School. And that's where I really started to learn to speak English. And by that time, I was 16. And I met these people here that are sitting here, my biggest supporters. We went to high school together. We went to UBC together, some of them, and realized what kind of very, very supportive communities. Oh, sorry.